Hi, guys, and welcome back to I Will Go Down with the Ship. My name is Heather,
And I'm Chelsea.
and we are going to get into episode two. I think it's the Golden Rule, right? That's what it's called.
I think it is. Yeah.
If that doesn't make my little shipper heart just get so excited, I don't know what will, to be honest. Now, okay, so we without getting into super spoilers yet, because we're gonna dive into the episode, Chelsea. Episode two, overall thoughts, feelings. How did you feel about this episode?
I came out of episode two like yelling at the TV, but also much happier than I was at the end of episode one.
100% I feel the same exact way, and we will clearly go into why we were both upset and frustrated. And I'm actually excited to talk to you about this because it's going to be really interesting to dissect Lucy's character development when we get to that specific part of it, like taking the shipper glasses off and just looking at it from a writer perspective. So let's jump into it. I want to just say really quick, the opening song, You Belong to Me by Joe Stafford. So I know this song from Patsy Cline, and this was like me and my grandfather's like special song. So hearing it was just, I loved the little callback. Um, but oh my gosh, like we get some backstory on Max, and I'm like over here crying 5 minutes into the
Right?
episode. Like, oh my gosh, Chelsea, what are your thoughts about
Like
this opening scene?
this changes my theory about his villain arc entirely.
A
And
hundred,
also I want to give him a hug
yes,
and just like wrap him in a soft blanket and take care of him.
absolutely. And it's just, I loved it's crazy. It's amazing. And this is like for me, like the writers, like this is the talent. And granted, they get a lot more than we as novelists do because they get to show it essentially. But this 5 minutes of just world building, and you see the community really like working together and wanting to protect each other and help each other be better. I'm just like, dude, I want to live in Shady Sands. Like I want to
Right?
with all of these people.
Like it made me love that community so much and it made me so much more upset
Yeah.
with Hank on behalf of that community and like everyone that was affected.
And I don't know. I love my Hank. Like I love Kyle MacLachlan and that like I love him so much. But yeah, 100%. And it's crazy because you don't even have to see Hank to really hate him after just 5 minutes with this community. And it's sort of like you. And I think as authors, like we're watching it and we already know what they're doing, right? They're like setting everything up. You see, the dad and the mom, they're getting where they want to go. They're almost there to reach their goal. They're so close. And we're building up to fail. We already know this, and yet we're still pulled into it. We're still feeling emotional about it. And it's it's just like it's really hard because even though we already know the story, it's you kind of are watching and you're like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this doesn't happen the way that we think it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Right? Like that's the hope, and then your hopes get crushed mercilessly.
100%. And it actually makes me understand Max a lot more and why he gravitates to the Brotherhood. And um it helps me understand him a lot more. Like even though I think that me and you did a pretty good job of dissecting who he was in episode like in the first season, I feel like this really helps me empathize with him a little bit more, and then on top of that
Much.
understand why he's so loyal to the Brotherhood, um because of everything that happens in this specific scene. Um, so we kind of what happens basically is that, we have this sort of like a traveling guy or something, and like I guess they need to call the doctor because he just keeps repeating this phrase, something like patrolling the Mojave makes you wish for a nuclear winter. And he says this over and over and over again. And I think if I remember correctly, because I know we've kind of been on a winter break, but like the doctor is his dad, right? Am I remembering that? Is Max?
I think that's the vibe I'm getting from that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Chelsea, why don't you explain like so we see this guy and we see the dad kind of go and explore what happens next.
Our traveling merchant
Yeah.
is, as it turns out, is under mind control, and once they've unloaded most of the stuff off the cart, there's still something big under a tarp there. And then once our traveling merchant like dies and they roll him over and see that, oh, he's got this device on the back of his neck and he's been under mind control, and that's what's up. And they pull the tarp off and there's a nuke in the cart.
Yeah. And but the crazy part is that Max's dad is like he sends everyone away, including his son. But he's like, okay, he almost knows exactly what he's doing. And so it's like there's a little bit of panic, but there's also confidence in what he's doing. Like he pulls out the wires and he like clips the right one and he's like, okay, I've got this, but then he actually doesn't have this. Like it's actually
Yeah.
the opposite. Um,
Yeah, it's booby trapped because of course it was.
Of course it was. And so he runs into, his house and him and his wife basically put Max into a fridge. And it's just it's like the saddest moment. And I think, as a kid, like in by kid, I mean like in my 20s, like in my early 20s before I had kids, I was like, oh yeah, whatever. But I think once you have a kid or once you have someone to lose, those moments just hit you so much harder because you're
Yes.
automatically forced to be like, what would I do in this particular situation? And
What would I do with my baby in this situation? And it's like it's so gut wrenching. I literally like I was crying.
yeah, yeah, I was literally sobbing, even though, again, from a logistical writing point of view, I knew exactly what they were doing to me. I knew the setup. Like me and you have done this in our books, but it's like it still gets me because they know exactly what, you're doing and they're trying to reassure him, they're saying you're a good boy and you're going to be a good man. Um, and I love this line of like it could be tough out there, but as long as we leave it a little bit better than we found it, we
Found
did
it.
okay. And like that
There's
got
a callback to that in the next episode too.
uh hun oh honey. Let's not get ahead of ourselves with the next episode. But
I
yes.
know, but I loved that moment. I was like, aha.
Yes, 100%. And so I'm like bawling because it's like he has so much faith in his son and that it's almost like like he doesn't want to leave his kid. He doesn't want to leave the fact that he is so close to achieving what he wants to achieve. But you know what? It's like he looks at his life and he's like, I did the best that I could. I made life a little bit better, and that like that gets me. Like that is important. Like especially as a parent, especially just like as we get older, what kind of legacy are we leaving, And
Right.
I just found that super inspiring and emotional. And, he gets in the fridge. And just even when the wife saw like we were just getting started, like like that was so real. Like I
That
was
killed
just
me.
yeah, because I'm like, okay, the dad's being strong. He has to be strong for the family, and the wife is trying to, but it's like, gosh, she's like, why is this happening? And it's like, no, that was real. Like, I'd probably do the same thing. And,
Yep. I
and
felt that in my soul.
yes, absolutely. But this is the genius of the writers because we see the explosion go off, and then it flashes over to Hank and like young Lucy.
Right? And Hank's washing his hands.
Yes. And it was just, and it's like Lucy's all like, hey, dad, like, come read to me. And he's like, okie dokie. Like, and it's just a reminder that, and this is where I'm like, no, like Hank is Cersei because his one redeeming quality is he loves Lucy.
Loves his family.
There is no doubt in my mind that he loves Lucy. And so, for whatever sick and twisted way he did this specifically for his kids, probably to save them from, Shady Sands and Rose essentially escaping with the kids. but it was just like I don't know, like it was such a contrast because you see both dads being present for their kids and reassuring their kids, and just they both think that what they did was the right thing. And even though we in hindsight know that Hank's a piece of garbage, it's like I cannot deny that he loves Lucy, and he like
Right.
is going to go and read her a book, and he is not emoting that, oh yeah, he just dropped a bomb on this fucking town. Like,
Right.
and Kyle MacLachlan plays it so good. Like so good that it's just oh my gosh, the contrast was so stark and it just guts you. You know what I mean?
It was absolutely beautiful. And it's very much a moment of like, you can see yourself in it as a parent because I can't speak for all parents, but for most of us as parents, we are literally just every single day trying to do the best we can with what we have
Yep.
and trying to make the best possible life that we can for our children with what we have. And we might not do everything right. We might screw up a whole hell of a lot,
Yep.
but we are trying essentially to make a better life and a better world for our kids than whatever we were handed and whatever we went through
Mm-hmm.
growing
Absolutely. Absolutely. So after that scene, we kind of flash and now we get Maximus in the present. And um I noticed while watching this, like, because when we were talking about Max in season one, we kind of thought, okay, he's going to get this villain arc because he wants that belonging. He wants that found family. He wants to do whatever the Brotherhood says in order to kind of find a place for him in this world. But when we open up with him, it's almost like he's like hitting the right buttons, but he's clearly, there's a disconnect. He is not
up.
happy. So if you want to, do you want to get into more about that, like about our first scene with Max?
It's so wild to me. Like everything's muddled because I've been so sick and I've watched episode 2 and
Yep.
episode 3 back to back. So I'm trying to like separate everything in my head and it's not working for me today. But like he's cleaning his power armor, right? Or is
I
that the
think
next
so.
episode?
I think so. I think it's basically they're cheering for him, and he just I think he's talking to the guy, like whatever that guy is, like they're like, all hail Knight Maximus, we have troops cheering. And they got the power. I think they're getting the power, like
Yeah,
the
they're getting that box.
yeah. And they talk about abominations, nothing they couldn't handle. And this is also a good kind of foreshadowing into episode three. But abominations, from what I understand, is anything that like it's not regular human. It could be a ghoul, it could be like other
Mutants.
mutants, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
just that they are not technically human anymore, or they're not full human, that sort of thing. And that to the Brotherhood is a complete stain on humanity because only sort of humans are accepted in within the Brotherhood's view of this world, from what I'm
right.
understanding. Um, but Max is curious, like, okay, what is this? Like, what essentially did I risk myself for? And his, oh gosh, I don't even know the guy's name. It's like his boss guy,
Right. I don't know his name either.
the leader, but he's essentially saying this is the key. And he goes into a little bit of world building with the Brotherhood, that the Brotherhood has become scattered, and there's apparently dozens of rival chapters. So it's not just this uniformed, group. It's like, no, there's a bunch of different types. But now that they have this sort of box, this is what they are thinking is going to unify all of them under one banner. And Max's boss basically wants to rule over the entire Brotherhood. He wants to unite them, and he wants to make sure that he is essentially the leader, or at
The
least
leader.
their Brotherhood is the one in charge. Um, and what's really interesting is that we get he calls Max my son. And
Right.
I think that he does that on purpose. I think he knows Max is looking for a father figure. I think he's looking for someone to respect and just kind of obey. And I think he's completely taking advantage of Max because he needs Max, because everyone thinks that Max killed Moldaver, right?
Right.
And so he's kind of this hero now. And in like, even though I think that they have their issues, the boss guy is like, I need to use this to my advantage. So I'm going, if I can control Max and have him do whatever I want, then this is going to work out for me and I'm going to get what I want to get.
Yeah. It's an
Um,
absolute manipulation tactic for sure.
yeah. And I just thought like that opening, like with the flashback scene and even Max to the present, I was like, okay, this is how you introduce Max. Like, obviously, we didn't get any Max in episode one, but I was like, okay, now I'm curious. I'm invested in Max's story. I'm curious to see how this plays out. So, that was really fun. But now we switch over to the Ghoul and Lucy. And I love this moment between the two of them. He's all like, the ghoul's like water. And she's like, were you always this rude? Like, I'm guessing not. And then she goes in to talk about his family. Like, your family's going to be out there. Anything's possible. But do you really think that they're going to appreciate the kind of person that you have turned into? Like, you want them to like you, don't you? And I just think that that's the funniest thing because I'm like wondering like what is going through like the audacity first of all. Like I'm just like Lucy, like you don't even know this man's family. You don't know what he's had to suffer. Like but I love
Right.
it. I love her for this because she's also not wrong. She's like, dude, you're gonna find your family and you're a dick. Like let's change attitude. You know what I mean? Like
It's so funny to me. Like my entire like my repetitive tagline that I was saying for this entire episode was girl.
yeah.
What? Stop.
And I love it. She's like, Charles Dickens actually wrote a whole book about it if you're interested. And he's like, nope. But then like, she keeps going. Like, she does not give a shit. Cause then we flash over and she's like, and by the third ghost, he was pretty much cured. But the best part is he's actually listening to her. Like, he's like humoring her. He's like, like, you know what I mean? Like he could tell her to shut the fuck up and he doesn't. I
He
think he
could.
secretly likes when she talks. Like honestly.
Right. I think he's been so lonely for so long that he will tolerate the yammering no matter what.
Oh yeah, and I just think part of him because if I were Cooper, this would be me. It's like, what the fuck else is she gonna say? Like what's gonna come out of this mouth? Because like I'm curious and I'm also like disgusted, but I'm also like intrigued and like all of these emotions. So I feel like that is what's happening right now in Cooper's head. Like, um,
Yeah.
but then we get the help, we get the shout, and we already know what Lucy is going to do. Um,
Yes. Because somebody hasn't learned her lessons yet in the wasteland, apparently.
no, no. And then the ghoul is like, empathy's like mud, you lose your boots and that stuff. Like classic Cooper line.
So
And
brilliant.
and then Lucy's like, well, I'm not just gonna let someone die while I listen to them scream. And then Cooper doesn't give a shit. He's like, folks have been screaming for 200 fucking years. But then Lucy comes back. Like, I'm just like a ping pong match. Like, I'm like, who's gonna top who? And she's like, did it ever occur to you that if you helped them, they would stop? And I'm like, whoa. I was like, damn, girl, you got him. But then he turns it around and he's like, you want to know what I was like before the war? I was just like you. Stupid. And then Goggins' like delivery on that line, like the timing, perfect. Like, just
Like,
perfect,
he just keeps getting better and better in literally everything he does. And
honestly.
like, I adore that man so
And
much. He's freaking incredible.
but I really liked this line because it's another sort of and it's coming from him like I was just like you. And it's sort of
Right?
like forcing not only her to realize that, he was someone before being a ghoul, but also himself. Like, I was just like you. And part of
Yeah.
it, I think he's saying it to be like, I don't want to be like you anymore. I can't. That's not how I survive. You're stupid. But then
Mm.
he's already groaning because he already knows that Lucy's going to go in and he already
Yep.
knows he's going to follow her. Like,
Yep.
There's that it's just
Because he can't just like let her wander off by herself, which is the
no.
cutest thing ever. But it's such a mirror moment of like, I was you. And
Yeah.
it's a callback to season one. Oh, I'm you, sweetie. Just give it a little time.
Oh
Like
yeah. And then
it's all lines up so beautifully. And I would just like I would love to get a look at the storyboards of like season one and season two like laid out with each other and just see like all of these beautiful callback moments that they've made sure to do that I absolutely love. Like this is incredible setups and payoffs
oh,
across seasons.
100%. And then and this is why I think it's really important because like I have the script pulled up, but that we have to get granular with the dialogue because like you mentioned, we already have a call like technically not in episode 2, but once we talk episode 3, we already have a callback to specific dialogue. And like even now, the ghoul's like, well, this is a waste of time. And Lucy says, doing the right thing is never a waste of time. And I'm pretty sure that, Cooper doesn't ever say this in one of the flashbacks, but you can tell when he's struggling with whether to help Moldaver or not, like kind of spy on Barb. Like, that that's what he's thinking too. Like doing the right thing is never a waste of time. And
Did
so
Charlie say something similar to that at some point?
I wouldn't be
I'm
surprised.
hallucinating.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. And it's almost like frustrating. It's like I want to go back and watch all of season 1, but then it's like little things like that kind of fall through the cracks. But it's like you also know enough about the characters to know we know that Cooper wants to do the right thing. And that's why he struggles so much internally with helping Moldaver. And gosh, episode 3 is going to be so much fun to discuss because
I
so
can't
much
wait.
stuff
Like
happened.
that was so good.
Um,
Like I don't know how this show just keeps outdoing itself on
I'm not
a
gonna lie,
weekly basis.
I'm like waiting, I'm waiting for them to fuck up something really bad. Like, and I know that's so bad, but it's just like this is too good. Like, is this
Right.
really happening? Like, this is too good. Um,
It is scary. You're like, when are they going to eventually drop the ball? And I hope that they don't. But we know that it happens in really good shows. Hello, Game of Thrones.
yes.
Like,
Ugh, yeah. Anyway, so they go in and we get a little bit more world building. So this girl says we need medicine, and Lucy's like, well, what happened? And the ghoul immediately says, Tunics, you're awful far west, ain't you? And so the ghoul clearly knows, and we're gonna really dive into Lucy's motivations and choices and character, but let's go through just really quick what the scene is. And Lucy basically says, ignore him. I've got one stim pack left. The woman's like, okay. And the ghoul's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is not good resources. Like, they
not good
don't,
resource management.
yes, they don't deserve to save. Like, they don't deserve to be saved. So part of it is like, I know that the writers don't want to give everything away. But at the same time, Lucy doesn't know shit. So if the ghoul really wanted her to not utilize that resource for this woman, he should have just been like, okay, bro, listen, these are awful people. Here's why. But I think part of it too, and I'm curious your take on it, is he testing her? Like, does he want her to just trust what he's saying? Or is this more of like the writers are kind of hinting at it because they don't, it's more of a plot device than an actual like dialogue. Like, what do you think here, Chelsea?
The shipper in me wants it to be him testing how much she trusts him. And
Mm,
is she going to listen to him without him having to lay out all the facts for her? And I think part of it is still him being a bit of a petty bitch and being like, look, fine, learn your lessons the hard way. Don't listen to me. Like,
that's a good point. I didn't consider that one, but I could see Cooper being a petty bitch like that. Yes.
and that's like, my instinct is it is either him hoping that she is going to trust him and not question every little fucking thing, though does he know her at all if that is the situation,
Right.
without him having to explain why these people in their tunics are bad people and you shouldn't waste resources on them. And like the other part of me is like, no, it's totally just a like just watch and see what happens and how badly her warped worldview, her sheltered little worldview fucks shit up for her because she's not listening. And
Well,
like let her learn that lesson the hard way.
well, and on top of that, what's interesting is when he says, "Hey, this is gonna not be good for the resources. Folks in them outfits don't deserve saving." She doesn't stop and ask him why. It's almost
Right.
like she like completely dismisses what he tells her before like he without even stopping and considering it. And the thing is like part of me is like, okay, Cooper's just a dick. Like, and I think she knows that. I think she's been traveling with him for just shy of 2 weeks, and she gets that. I mean, what's very interesting, if we could go back to when we first meet Cooper and Lucy in this episode, like if you see he's asking her for water. Yes, he's being a dick about it. But if we go back to season 1, he literally dropped the last bits of water on the ground before he let her have some. And yet in this episode, she's basically in charge of the water. He's essentially trusting her with the water to give him water when he demands, asks, whatever you want to call it. Um, so I just find it really interesting that she's not even, he's her guide essentially. And to be fair, a lot of what Cooper says has been right. And so my thing is like, okay, you don't have to think that he's Mr. Rogers. You don't have to think that he's this nice guy. But if he's saying essentially people who dress like that don't deserve saving, why not just ask why? Like, even if you push back and say, well, everyone deserves saving, it doesn't matter, what they look like or what they're wearing. I'm just like, she completely ignores what comes out of his mouth and focuses more on the saving them. And yeah, I get it, they need that help, but I just wish I would have seen a little bit more like,
Back
let's
and forth.
have a, yeah, like a dialogue. Like, let me, even if it's to argue her point of everyone needs saving, I don't like the dismissiveness. That's what I don't really like.
Right. And
Yeah,
like, is she just not listening to him because she thinks he's a grumpy asshole? Or is it a plot device because they needed this thing to happen and she needed to end up where she ends up?
exactly. And I think that that's why, again, I would have loved to see the development of this sort of road trip buddy cop relationship to really understand because and to be honest, like maybe the writers specifically didn't show us that because if they did show a development, then this scene right here wouldn't actually make a lot of sense. Because, I mean, 2 weeks on the road with Cooper Howard, I just feel like they would have been past this point of I don't know. Like, I feel like it's more on Cooper's end. Like, Cooper already knows Lucy's going to run in and try to save people. And so he doesn't even really, like, he tries to argue a little bit, but he's running after her. Like, he already knows what's going to happen. It's very exasperated on his part. But I just feel like Lucy isn't giving Cooper, I'm not saying she needs to give him the benefit of the doubt, but there has to be some kind of trust between them. Like, I just feel like even the opening scene from episode 1, like he completely trusts her. Like if he's trusting her to shoot the rope where it's already on
Right.
her neck, he's showing a lot of faith in her. And I'm not saying again, she doesn't have to necessarily agree with his beliefs. She can argue with his beliefs. But why not give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt? And this isn't me trying to be like shipper or even, oh, I'm thirsty for Cooper Howard. It's more of like I'm trying to understand her motivations as of, you know, everything that Cooper says is going to happen, at least from what we've seen in episodes 1 and 2 as of right now, typically like turns out to be true. So
Yes.
why
My
does
man called it.
yeah, right. So why is she not at least having a dialogue with him about, why not to, like save him? And so like I just
Right.
what's interesting, so then, obviously we see that there's two people, like another person there, and the ghoul's like, nope, not you, dude. Like I'm gonna kill. What's so interesting though is he doesn't kill the woman. And is he letting Lucy save her? Like, why? Like, if he really just wanted to shut Lucy up, he could have. He's fucking Cooper Howard. Like, he could just push her to the side and kill both of them. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, Chelsea, like, why doesn't he kill the woman? Like, is it again to teach Lucy that lesson, or what do you think?
I really do think I'm going to let you learn this shit the hard way because hardball lessons teach better
Yeah.
than me trying to tell you something, obviously, because you're not listening to me when I'm speaking. You're not giving me the benefit of my experience on top of not giving me the benefit of the doubt. And, like I've been up here for 200 years navigating all of this shit. You would think you could listen to me, but if you don't want to listen to me, I'm going to let you learn the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that this might sound so fucked up, but I think that him giving her the autonomy to make these choices is actually, I like that. Even if I don't agree
Mm-hmm.
with Lucy, he's not coming in and mansplaining anything to her, or I'm in charge because I have the experience. I think he genuinely wants her to. I think deep down, and this is just me maybe being a shipper, I think part of him genuinely wants her to trust him. Like, I think that
Right.
he wants her to just listen to what he has to say, not only because it would make his life so much easier, but I think that he genuinely cares to a degree about what she not necessarily thinks of him. I don't know if I'm explaining. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But what she thinks of his experience, his knowledge,
yes,
everything that he has to offer here, which is quite a lot, and she's just discounting because of her morals,
yes, a
because
hundred.
their morals are mismatched.
But the best part of this scene is when he tries to eat the dude. He's like pulling off the skin and he starts gagging, and I'm like, what is going on, Cooper? Oh
That
my
was
gosh,
so great.
that was so funny.
I knew it was about to be some shit.
Oh,
When he started gagging, I was like, oh, Lord, here we go.
so we see a rad scorpion screeching. And this like I'm mad at Lucy during this part, but I'm also laughing my ass off. So like Cooper is just like fighting with this like rad scorpion, and she's like completely ignoring him. She's like, "Fuck you, Cooper. I'm gonna save this lady. Like, you're being so dramatic." Like, he's literally like trying to like get this thing off of him. And she's like, "Oh gosh, she's." It was just the funniest thing. And I'm like, dude, Lucy, why are you helping him? Like, and I know part of it, again, she knows that he's going to survive. And I think this is her way of teaching him a lesson, like stopping a dick, like
Right.
people. So
I love the like petty married couple passive aggressive energy
yes,
in this shit from both directions. And it's just like when I do some dumb shit and Lake's like, I'll let you learn the hard way. Sorry, babe. What did we learn?
yeah, no, that's my husband too. Like, he'll be like, wait, wait, so you were wrong? You were wrong?
Okay, I'm glad my husband's not the only one. Oh,
No, you know what? As much as it hurts my pride, if our positions were reversed, I would want the same. Okay, Heather was right. The wife was right. So I give it to him. I'm like, okay, you're right. I was wrong. I
I will give you that validation. I will give it begrudgingly, but I will give you that validation.
exactly. So fucking Cooper, shit, get the fuck off me. It's just I'm dying during this part. He's screaming, the woman is screaming, and like the fuck Lucy's more concerned about the woman than Cooper. And like,
And
okay,
I'm just yelling at the screen, like, have you learned nothing since you've been up here? Nothing is what it seems on the surface. Nothing matches the morality that you were taught. Like, come on.
the thing is, I like that she really desperately wants to keep her morality because I think if she can cling on to her morality, it means that the way that Hank raised her wasn't a complete lie. And like she gets to embody that regardless of how shitty her dad is. And I get that it's such an integral part of her identity right now because if she loses that, then who the fuck is she? And I think that scares her more than anything. My
Right.
issue, the thing that really gets me though, is during this part, like I think, Cooper gets the rad scorpion off of him and he wants the stim pack. And she says, I only have one. And he's stuttering. He's like, give it to me. And I love that she hesitates. Like I do love that she hesitates. But like and then, and then she basically says she's going to die without it. You're not going to. And she essentially gives it to the woman. And again, I get the logistics behind it because she would die and Lucy wants to save her life. But I do not like that she chose that
A
stranger
stranger over Cooper.
over Cooper. Uh-huh. And I'm hoping that this is a setup and that we will get a similar scene in episode 6 or 7 and she will have learned her lesson and pick Cooper. I'm hoping that this is what
Right.
this is, that this is a setup. Um, because we do see her hesitation. If Lucy did not, it completely did not care about Cooper, she wouldn't have hesitated. She would have given the stim pack straight to the lady right away. But it's almost like she had to stop and rationalize it to herself. Like,
Yep.
she's going to die. You're not going to die. Um, and I love this part because she's like, okay, we'll get you home to your people, okay? And then that's Cooper, golden rule, motherfucker. And he starts laughing. He starts laughing and grunting. And it's like Lucy says that rule is for people. You're disgusting, cruel. I'm nothing like you. But that's hilarious because she used that rule on
Right.
him in season 1. And so,
Was hysterically funny.
well, I loved that because it showed that she did see him as a person. That rule does apply to him, even though he was a monster to her. He basically sold her for parts. Um, but again, it's like she's so mad at him
Right now in this
right now.
moment.
And she's saying, I am nothing like you. There,
Right. Well, and she's further dehumanizing him in her own mind
she has,
right now in this moment because
yeah,
she's so pissed.
yeah. And that's the thing where a little bit of the characterization, in my opinion, is flawed because I get like again, it's that she's doing this because she's so mad at him. Um, but part of me is like, why are you mad at him? Like, okay, yes, he completely wants to kill, like he killed that guy and then he's ready to kill this girl, and I get that. And you don't want to do that because you see the value in human life. Like you're not stopping to ask who you work for, what you believe, any of that. Like Lucy sees human life as worth living. But that should also apply to Cooper Howard, whether she wants to admit it or not. And it did in season 1. And that's where I have the issue of like, okay, look, like even the lesson that she learned in season 1, that she learned directly from Cooper, is sometimes killing's a mercy killing. Sometimes you
Yep.
have to pull the trigger. And that doesn't mean that you are killing or that it's bad. And she winds up doing that with her mom. And so it's like she learned that lesson. And now I feel like her characterization has kind of regressed a little bit because you
Yes.
trusted Cooper in that moment to kill your mom because you realized that he was right about this. You trust him enough to go after your dad because you know that your dad's a piece of shit. And if you don't do something about it, you feel responsible for it. And yet we have your setup of season 2 where she's regressed to back to when Cooper had a basically her lassoed up. But that was understandable for her characterization back then. It's not acceptable to me, at least anymore, because they've already spent all this time together. Cooper has been right about everything that we've seen. And he's giving her the autonomy to choose a lot of the stuff. Like, okay, go
Mm.
rescue the tunic, go do this. And she's still so mad at him that she doesn't give him, and I don't know if her giving Cooper the stim pack would be out of character either, because this is a human life and Cooper can do it, but I just think that like you said, she's dehumanizing him in such a way that she has to, because I feel like if she doesn't, if she actually sits with her choices, she would know that she was wrong and she cannot be
Yeah.
wrong in this moment. At least that's,
Not just that. I think she's letting her emotions rule her a lot
yeah.
because she wishes he would behave differently than he's behaving, which means she's emotionally invested in him
Yes.
and she's not being rational right now about him emotionally. Like she is not being rational about him in any way right now. And who in the world drives us the most crazy? The people we love the most,
Her
the
husband.
people we care about the most.
Yeah.
The husbands,
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%. It's
Um,
very married couple energy. And like what I'm doing right now is not logical at all, but fuck you, you made me mad. So this is where we're at right now.
I just love this. Like when she's like, okay, she's getting the woman up and she's like, which is why when I get her home, I'll come back for you. Give you a little time to think about the consequences of your actions. Like to me, that's just like a throwback to when they first meet in fucking, gosh, what's that town when he's like killing everybody and she's like, we don't need to be violent. We can resolve this. Like,
Right.
um,
Oh,
but I love like the woman doesn't give a shit about Cooper, but Lucy has to tell herself like I wouldn't worry about them. He's very durable. He'll be fine. And it's like she's already feeling guilty. She
yep.
already knows that she made the mistake. But it's like we do this as wives. Like we're already halfway into the fight. We're already arguing. You ever see those memes on Instagram where it's all like when you're like three-fourths into the fight and you start realizing that you're the bad one, like you fucked up, but you're too far in that you can't back out now, like you have to go all the way in. And I feel like that was Lucy 100%. Like she was like, okay, maybe I could have handled this differently, but he has to be fine. Like he's gonna be fine. But now it's like, yeah, like I'm like, okay, she's feeling guilty, which is good. Fucking Lucy, like you should be feeling guilty.
Right.
And so, yeah. So anyway, so that's the scene. Do you have any other points or anything that you want to talk about when it comes to Lucy and her character or her decisions or even the ghoul or anything like that? Like, do you think that what Lucy does makes the ghoul respect her more? Do you think that he's just kind of like, okay, she's gonna learn the lesson. I'm gonna have to come in and save her. And like, what are you thinking right now when it comes to that?
I think he's very exasperated. I think he's a little bit disappointed that she didn't choose him.
Yeah,
And like we'll talk about why when we get to episode 3, or at least I think it's episode 3. I don't know, everything is running together because I've been watching on a loop.
100%.
It's all like running together, but we will talk about that because I think the thing I want to reference with that is in our next episode.
Okay.
um but I very much think that he's just like he's mainly exasperated, he's tired, he knows exactly how this situation is going to go
Yeah.
because like he knows her inside and out, he knows her better than she knows herself,
Yes.
and like he knows how this is going to play out. He knows he's going to have to get his shit together, he's going to have to bootstrap himself, and then he's going to have to go after her
Right.
because our girl has fucked up
Yeah. Pretty bad.
royally.
Pretty bad.
And I think there's a little bit of disappointment and a little bit of hurt, but like he's gonna go after her anyway because like he can't. I don't think it even has anything to do with finding his family right now at this point. Like yes, but that's secondary. It's like he can't let her wander through this shit alone and get killed before they hunt her dad down and like even the score.
Let me ask you, because I was going to save this question for the end, but we'll just jump into it now. Because I've seen so many different theories about at the end of episode 2. Do you think Cooper goes after Lucy? And this isn't a spoiler. We all know he's going to go after Lucy. Do you think that he has to do it because either to find Hank, because he needs Lucy as a bargaining chip for Hank, or like which will eventually lead him to his family, do you think that it's because he wants to save her? He doesn't want anything bad to happen? Do you think it's a mix of both? Like does Cooper Howard actually need to save Lucy? And if we completely take off the shipper glasses and we're looking at it from a structural point of view, or even just like your own perspective, like what do you think about that?
I don't think he necessarily needs to save her. I think that he wants to save her. I think he feels at least some kind of responsibility for this adorable bumbling idiot
Yeah,
with her shiny morals. And like doesn't feel like he wouldn't be able to rest with his own conscience easily if he let something bad happen to her,
yeah.
because he was trying to let her learn this lesson the hard way, and then like now he has to come around and follow up. Like if he's going to let her learn the lesson the hard way, he's going to make sure that she survives to learn the lesson.
See, that is a really good point. I did not even think about it. It's almost like he is partially responsible because he knows her so well. I feel like he knew exactly how it was going to play out, but I think to your point, I think that he didn't actually expect her to choose to give the stim pack to the girl. Like I think like it's that disappointment. Like he almost expected that she's going to learn her lesson and I'm going to be right there to show her what an idiot she is when we're surrounded by the Legion after dropping this tunic bitch back off. I don't think he realizes they're going to be separated. Um
Right.
and I think that like to
I
your
think it's a little bit panic inducing for him,
yeah,
like being separated from her, because all of these horrible things could happen to her before he gets himself straightened out and gets to go and like come to her rescue, like
right.
the fucking cowboy he is at heart.
And I think too that um I just think that like you said, I think that it's that there's that he's that cowboy at heart, that responsibility. Um I think that I think he tells himself he needs her to fulfill his goals, but I think that deep down he's fucking Cooper Howard. He could try
Right.
he could track Hank. He could torture Hank and kill him. Lucy might actually be more of a hindrance right now to him than an actual help to him. Because like he's a bounty hunter. He is the best bounty hunter in the wastes. I don't think he actually needs her to get what he wants.
No, he does not need her at all. And the fact that he continues to stick with her and look out for her and save her from these fucking idiotic situations she keeps putting herself in because she's applying her morals to a place where her morals do not belong.
Yeah.
Like, it's a choice on his part. It is an active choice
Yeah.
to continue to engage with her because he does not need her. He
No.
is so ridiculously capable that he could easily hunt down Hank, probably faster,
Faster.
without her tagging along. And he could easily like torture the information that he needs out of Hank. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be hard. It would be enjoyable for him because he
Yeah.
didn't like Hank before the bombs dropped.
100%.
Like, but he's guiding Lucy on her journey. I don't want to say in a very mentory kind of way because it doesn't feel mentor
It's
mentee to me. It doesn't feel father daughter to me either.
not. No.
But he is serving as a guide on her hero's journey, and she's got to like figure this shit out.
Yeah.
But I think that's why he keeps giving her so much agency.
Yeah.
It, he wants to see her learn and start making the right choices.
Well, and to your point about the mentor mentee, I don't think it's mentor mentee either because the relationship is pretty equal because she is also guiding him on his own hero's journey. And so
That's true.
because you have the equal like it's funny because they're both going on the hero's journey, but they're both the mentor to each other too. And so it's sort of like you have this like this mirror between the two of them. And so that's why I don't think it's father because there's no real power imbalance between them. I mean, yes, Cooper has the experience, he has the age, he has, the knowledge, the wisdom, whatever. But Lucy has knowledge of the vaults that he doesn't have. Lucy has the moral compass that he lost. And so to me, that really brings them down on equal footing because they each need something from each other. And
Yes.
they kind of are this puzzle piece that fits together and they can both learn from it. And so I'm not gonna lie, like once Lucy was separated, I was like, oh fuck, are they gonna be separated for like the rest of the season? Like I was so worried, like,
I
we're
was
only in episode,
stressing the fuck out.
dude, I was stressing out. I'm so glad we saw like episode 3 like really calm me the fuck down. But I was like, am I gonna like have to wait for the like is he gonna spend a whole couple episodes gathering troops? Like what's gonna happen? Like I don't want them separated. Like I need them to like stay
Be together.
together. Yeah.
Yes.
So Lucy leaves the ghoul, poor ghoul. And now we get to see the Vaulties. Our Vaulties are coming out of hibernation, essentially. Not gonna lie, like they were hilarious.
They were so funny.
I loved it. I love that Norm's like basically like there's been a change of plans, then you have I don't even know these characters' names, but I love Claudia and the dude. Like, Claudia's like, should I be able to see now? And he's like, relax, Claudia. There's been a change of plans. Like, just that little banter. I'm dead. Like, I'm dead. I'm like, you've got me again, Valtese. Like, why do you do this to me? I can't stop laughing.
They're so cute. Like they're precious and adorable. And I'm so fucking proud of Norm. And like I'm loving the shit out of Norm this
Yeah.
season. Like, can we just talk about how fucking genius he is?
I feel like he's really stepped into his alpha energy. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
yes. And it's like I feel really weird about being thirsty
I
over Norm because like I watched this child grow up on the Disney Channel and like stop it.
I just think luckily I did not watch him grow up, so I can definitely respect the alpha that's coming out of Norm. But I just like look at his character growth from this guy who like gave a shit about nobody, who basically had to be like moved from job to job because he didn't get along with anybody. And he's just making these decisions and owning these decisions. And I love it. And now he's basically like, well, what the fuck do I do now? Like, these are essentially children. And I have to convince them that not only is it Reclamation Day, but that I'm in charge and that Bud is just, he's dead, but we can't have them panic. And it's just, he handles his shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
mad
It
respect.
was very sexy to me in a like a deeply intellectual and kind of manipulative but also hot sort of way.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
So
it's giving dark romance hero light.
yeah, like it's like the nerdy brother. It's like the Sabrina Carpenter song, like, when did you get hot? Like, when did
Yes.
it happen? Like, how? Um, so then we kind of jump over to Hank and fucking Hank, dude. Kyle, you're amazing. I love you. Like he grabs this mouse and he's just like the mouse is squeaking and he's trying. He's
Like
trying.
it was so slapstick and like hysterically funny but tongue in cheek at the same time and I'm like, "Damn, how do they achieve this kind of humor with what we have going on right here?" Like that's hysterically funny.
Yes.
And I
And
love him in the yo-yo.
oh my
Him
God,
and the
like
yo-yo.
I'm like Kyle, did you do that yourself or should I be paying it like is this an actual sort of motif in within the show? Like does this represent anything or is this just Kyle MacLachlan being Kyle MacLachlan? Like I need to know like what
Right.
does this mean? Like cuz I could see Kyle just being like, "Hey, I found this yo-yo. Like I'm just going to fuck around with it in the scene and no one's going to tell him no." You know, like I could see that happening as well.
Well, he's a genius on screen, obviously. Like he's fucking incredible.
Yes.
So, like nobody's gonna question that choice. If it was just Kyle being like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this thing."
Yeah. And it worked. Let's be real. It worked. And then so we kind of jump over to Max and we see Max kind of taking on a leadership role. Like he's saying, okay, send those to the clerics for sorting. Like, and people are respecting him. They're listening to him. The best part is when he's like, please don't play with the grenades inside. Like, like this is we think is common sense, but I guess the Brotherhood does not have a lot of that over there. Um,
Apparently.
Dude, like when I saw the car, like they're literally in this warehouse looking at all of these relics from pre-bomb area, and it's like I'm seeing this beautiful car, and they're like, "Bring her outside. Let's see what this baby can do." And we like all think like, "Oh, she's gonna drive the car." No, he did
No.
not drive the fucking car.
My favorite moment was like, there's a fucking alien in this
Oh
refrigerator.
my gosh, yeah.
He's in Area 51, and they're like, fuck the alien. There's an icebox.
I know. Oh my gosh. And it's so perfect because that is how people would probably react because the icebox is way more important than the fucking alien. Um
And
and
I loved all the little details that they have there in Area 51.
oh yeah.
Like fucking I think it was the Constitution or something
Oh my gosh.
over
Yes.
there. He's just like sitting in a corner.
Where's Nicolas Cage when you need him, right?
I know, right?
Um and then I actually really liked this scene with Max because I think he's washing himself or something like that. And
Yeah, yeah, he's cleaning up.
he's cleaning up and the guy's like,
Why are you doing that?
why are you doing that? And he says because it's important. And he doesn't necessarily tell him like, hey, it's more of like, okay, well, what is our duty? And the guy's like, well, to fix this fallen world. And he's like, well, yeah, sometimes, but in order to make a big problem something you can handle, you have to make it small. And so we start by bettering ourselves. And there's a bunch of different ways that we do that with self-discipline, with valor, with generosity, and not smelling really bad. And I just honestly really appreciate that message because it's true
Yep.
that. I thought that that was very, very poignant and very like wisdom. Like, I was like, for someone who started off, poor Max, worried about his dick exploding to like this. I'm
Right.
like, Max, you've come a long way. Like, you have
He
come
has
a long
come
way.
so far, and he's really coming into himself and stepping into his own. And I'm loving seeing Max with more agency. I love seeing
Yeah.
Max question things. I love seeing Max embodying the kind of values that I think his father tried to instill in him when they were putting him in that refrigerator to save his life in Shady Sands. Like,
Yep.
I'm loving seeing all of these things.
And then we get a great scene with Max and Dane. And I think that so basically, Max dismisses the cadet, and I think Dane says it's always going to get dirty again. And then Max counters, well, better to polish dirty steel than to have it stay clean. And I really liked, again, it's very like wise. Like I like that kind of mentality from him. And Dane says we used to quote the codex to each other as a joke because obviously Max isn't joking anymore. And
Right.
he's like, "Well, I've seen what's out there and the Brotherhood is as good as it gets. I'm just trying to make it better." And I like that because again, it's that agency that he has. He's seen what is out there. He's seen the vaults. He was in the vault. He loved the vault and he's still coming back to the Brotherhood because he still thinks that it's better. And to be fair, fair. Like that's a fair choice. Um,
Right.
but then Dane says it couldn't have all been bad out there. You met that girl. And Max says she left. And you can kind of see he's trying to be very dismissive. Um, and Dane is trying to say, well, maybe she's still out there. And Max is pushing that thought away. She's like, I have duties here. And Dane is pushing him. Like, I've read the comms. Quintus, that's his name, called for a meeting, but he didn't tell the Commonwealth. He's breaking the chain of command. And I love this moment between Dane and Max because I and this is where when people come at me with like, well, why do you ship Goolsey? Why not Max and Lucy? And my big thing is because Max and Lucy have the same story. They need to learn the same lessons and they cannot get that from each other. They cannot grow from each other. Dane is taking sort of like the ghoul's role here. I think that Max is going. Dane is the one who's going to change Max's perception about everything. And again, we'll see this play out in episode 3, but it's not going to be Lucy that makes Max a better person or want to do right because we even see it in season 1. Max essentially lied to Lucy. He pretended to be someone he wasn't to try to impress her or to try to get her to like him. With Dane, he can be himself and still learn the lessons that he needs to learn.
And I think there are things that he needs to teach Dane too, which is why
Yeah,
I've shipped them and shipped them regardless of whether, like I thought Max was going to have a villain arc or not, which now I'm sincerely questioning that.
yeah,
I think he's going to have a parallel hero story to Lucy's.
100%.
And I like, I'm shipping Max and Dane hard and have been since season 1 because they just
Right.
fit.
Right. Well, and the thing is, and I think that, like you said, Max needs to teach Dane some things too. And I really like that because again, Max starts out very naive, very similar to Lucy, but in a different way because at least Lucy was very book smart. Whereas Max didn't really have experience and he didn't really have the book smart. He was just a good soldier. And
Right? Like
so,
all he had going for him was indoctrination. That was it.
yes. And but now that he has that experience, he's been out there, he's seen the world, he can come back and now he's choosing to, clean himself up. To kind of take this leadership role of like, let's not play with grenades inside, guys. Like, let's, not. Um,
That shouldn't be as funny as it is.
it shouldn't be, but it's hilarious. And I like that Dane is pointing out there is more to life than the Brotherhood. You are following the Brotherhood, and you might think that it's the only thing out there, but even the Brotherhood is not doing like it's not doing what you think it's supposed to be doing. Like they're breaking chain of command. Maybe it's not, like maybe it's better than some of the other stuff, but let's not kid ourselves. Like Dane wants to make sure Max isn't just turning a blind eye in order to fit within the Brotherhood the way that Max wants to. Dane wants to make sure, again, it's almost like that ghoul teaching Lucy a lesson. Dane wants Max to learn the lesson. He's a little bit more direct, I think, than the ghoul, but at the same time, I think that Dane can recognize that Max has to learn this lesson on his own as well, which we will again see in episode 3. But
Yes.
yeah,
They are very like Dane is very like there's an intelligence there that I think is a little bit lacking in Max.
yeah,
And it's like it's this ability to read people,
right.
and Max needs more of that.
I think too, I think I think Max, and this is just me speculating. I think Max is has good instincts. And this is again, we'll see this play out in episode 3 and why Max maybe likes a certain person that he might otherwise not like. But I think that he doesn't have, like you said, the experience to read how people are. He doesn't have that. And so even though his gut is good, his experience, he doesn't know how to listen to his gut because then shit happens. Like it's like every poor Max, like even in episode 3, he does the right thing, but it always fucks him over. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and so it's sort of like if you had if you were able to have more experience in the situation of knowing, okay, maybe this is a bad idea. Let's not get too deep into this and you can prevent stuff from happening. But I think that's just part of the trajectory that he has to go on. And I think that this is why Dean is such an important figure to him. Um, because Dane is like the Commonwealth is not going to let the Brotherhood seize power without a war. Is that what you want? Like, do you want a war? And Max is basically like, well, you said it yourself, there's nowhere out there that's safe, not as long as there's people out there who, and then he kind of lets his voice trail off. And then Max is basically like, if the Brotherhood can keep history from repeating itself, then my job is to help them do that. And again, we know why he does not want another Shady Sands. He wants to make sure no one has to go through that. And so what's so interesting though is that he's willing to go to war for it. Um and I don't know. I think that it's really interesting characterization. So what are your thoughts on that scene with Max and Dane? Like what do you think this is setting up specifically for Max's own, hero's journey?
I think it's setting up a lesson which we're gonna see in the next episode is maybe don't always trust your first instinct.
Yeah,
Don't always trust your first read of a situation. Really kind of think shit through.
right. But also to like I think again, and this is like the whole Lucy thing all over again. I wanted to see a dialogue with Max and Dane, like, you know,
Yeah.
I wanted Max to sort of get Dane's take on it. Like, because clearly we know that Dane does not want the war, that she, or that they don't trust, the Brotherhood. And
Right.
I would have wanted,
Quintus in particular, they don't trust.
yes, yeah, 100%. And I wanted to see more of a dialogue or at least a curiosity of Max to be like, like why do you feel this way? Because while Max was out, Dane was back there. And so
Yeah.
they have,
And Dane is literally the one that like raised Max's hand and was like, at the end of the last season after Moldaver's dead and like gave the whole implication
yeah,
that Max had killed Moldaver and like kind of really set Max up in this place of power.
yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. And so it's sort of like that's where and again, Max is very Lucy-esque right here, where it's like, I believe what I believe, and I'm really going to lean into this despite, the lessons that I need to learn. And this is why I ship Dane and Max. And this is why I ship Lucy and Cooper, because Lucy and Max are not going to get those lessons from each other. They have to
No,
get it from Dane and Cooper.
there
And
would just
again,
be like a self-perpetuating feedback loop of
yeah,
like being
yes.
the same person.
And I don't see, Dane or Max in a parental child role, and I don't see them in a mentor mentee. And
No, they're on level ground also.
yes, I think they're 100, and it's not just the age. I think it's again, I think that Max has seen stuff that Dane hasn't. And so it's understandable why Max wants to just do his duty, why Max wants to just make sure that, history doesn't repeat itself. But
What I love about it though is how Max's gaps and Dane's gaps could really fill each other in knowledge wise
oh yeah,
and create a very strong team.
yes, it's Lucy and Cooper all over again. And that's what I really like it because it's again, it's that foil relationship that mirrors back things from the main couple to this particular couple.
Yep.
And so then we kind of get a flash of like, okay, it's sort of like this round table, like Quintus is basically top. He's essentially has a bunch of different people from the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, Coronado, just to talk
Also,
about.
can we just note that I love that it's national parks?
Yes, I love that too. Um, and is that a video game thing or is that a writer
I
thing?
don't actually remember that if that's a video game thing or not because it has been a long, long time since I played. But and like also it's mostly Commonwealth. When
Yes.
I was playing Fallout 4, like everything was in the Commonwealth and like Boston area.
Got it. But speaking of Commonwealth, the Commonwealth are not there, and they should be. Whether you like them or not, they should technically be there. Quintus does not think so. Basically, he thinks that the Commonwealth would strong arm them and take the relic and not give them anything. Um, and then we have our very American America guy saying, no, that's taxation without representation. It's un-American. But then they're talking about this potentially the Civil War with the Commonwealth. And everyone agrees Commonwealth's probably going to kick their asses. But Quintus is like, well, not if we stand together. With the cold fusion, we can power airships and armor and a bunch of other things. Um, and we can kind of be united under this common, banner. And they point out it's not our banner, it's your banner. Like you want to do whatever you want to do. Um, and again, we see these armor, these knights are fucking around and a grenade is pulsating and I think it's Max, right, that comes in and basically is like,
Stop.
yeah. Um,
Children, no. It
exactly.
was very much the energy of that moment.
Yeah, and it's just interesting. It's fascinating because we see the different sort of brotherhood groups, like, some don't want to deal with the religious bullshit. Others are like, well, women don't get to talk. Um, you know, and then they
And
start,
then one of them has a female leader.
yeah, exactly. And then they start arguing and basically they're like, look, the Commonwealth pretty much lets us rule ourselves, so go fuck yourselves. Um, and somebody else says, you just like that they let you fuck robots. And I just thought that was hilarious.
That was very funny.
And the argument with that is, well, it was just one squire and he was well within his rights. Like, okay, like
I
that's
need more backstory, please, and
I
thank
know I need some world building here. Um, And so they start arguing, they start fighting with each other, like they don't want to work together. But Quintus is basically saying, look, we have our differences, but there is something we all agree on, and it's power. Um, and I can make this cold fusion. Um, and what's interesting now is now they're taking this holy book, the Codex, and there's very specific laws here that says, you cannot do violence against a brother. But now with power, again, you're going to start rewriting what is acceptable and what isn't. They specifically say, I suppose the codex is open to interpretation. And if that's not a callback to even what Cooper was dealing with pre-war, um, I just think that it's fascinating because it's like in these tumultuous times, we're going to take something that people see as holy or as like even the Constitution, right? Like things that we regard as reverent and sacred and pretty black and white, and then we start interpreting them for our own gains in order to acquire the power that we want. And
it really reminded me of like the Pirates Code
oh
in
yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, and then the
Oh my
whole
gosh.
thing with the they're more guidelines
Yeah,
anyway. Thing.
exactly. Um, and so then then they're basically like, well, fuck the Commonwealth. We're gonna do whatever we're gonna do. And then we go back to Lucy and she's like, I like your outfit. And I'm like, no, you don't, Lucy. Stop lying. Nobody likes that outfit. Even
Right.
I think even the girl's like, no, you don't. I don't like my outfit. Um, and I just think that, like Lucy's babbling as she normally does. And I don't love this line, but I love it because it's so weird. But Lucy's saying, I'm going to Vegas, and the girl's like, well, you shouldn't. And she's like, oh, well, I'm looking for someone. And the girl's like, you should go home. I wouldn't want to see you get raped by the wrong people. And
Are there right people?
exactly, like
Like,
that's where I'm just like, where are the right people to get raped by? Um, and so, I think this is, like that Morgan Freeman voice, like this is the part where Lucy realized she fucked up. Like, you know,
yeah.
suddenly like the girl disappears like some crazy ass fucking ghost and Lucy's like fudge and then she's like hello and then we kind of see nobody's surrounding her yet, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And
she sees the people with the torches and all of
Yeah.
this shit, and she's like, "Oh, maybe I have put my foot in my mouth yet again."
Yeah, and it's just it's frustrating. Oh, I guess we'll talk about it at the end of the episode. So then we go back to our vaulties, and they decided that they want to go back into their cryo chambers, and Norm is still trying to, get get control of the situation. Um, but he basically is like, "Do you think Bud Askins makes mistakes?" And which is so genius. Like it is such a genius thing. And
And so intelligent. Like he is villain sexy smart.
and Claudia's all like, "Well," and then it's like, "Oh my God, Claudia, we're trying to have a conversation here." Like I'm just dying because this banter is so funny.
Those two
Um,
are hilarious.
I know, I love them.
I
So
need their backstory. Like I need to know what was happening with them like pre-bomb drop.
I need to know too. Honestly, I completely agree with that. So what's great
Because
about
I'm getting enemies to lovers energy there.
100%, 100%. Um, and then so basically Norm manages to get them to essentially um start like focusing and doing what they're good at doing and overriding security protocols, schematics, all of that stuff. Like
And the
it,
merit dots. The merit dots were so freaking brilliant.
yes, exactly. Um and so this and then it flashes again and now we're back with Hank. And this is a really interesting scene because
Yes.
he has a human now. And
Mhm.
he gives the guy champagne and the guy's like, "Well, who are you?" And Hank is just completely honest. He's talking about how his experiment isn't working. The mice are small. They're like, he needs a bigger specimen. Um, and the guy's like, "Oh, like I think there's a mistake. I signed up for this Vault Tech premium." And Hank's like, "Did you read the fine print?" And it's just
I love
what
that the guy says yes.
I know, I know. And Hank's like, "Oh
No,
shit,
I
I
didn't.
wasn't expecting that. I didn't read it." Um, But what's so fascinating is I love this. And this is where I hate Hank, but at the same time, it's hard to hate him because he talks about, "I noticed on your file that you had a family, but you only bought a ticket for one." And the guy's like, "Well, it was expensive." And Hank's like, "You can't put a
Can't
price
put a
on
price on
family."
family.
Yes. And he says essentially that family is the first building block of civilization. And to me, that told me that he picked Steve because it's not only that he's by himself and he doesn't have a family, but because the guy was such an asshole to his own family that
Yep.
Hank's like, "Fuck you." And it's like, it's hard because I relate to that, like I appreciate what Hank did. Like he purposefully went
Mhm.
out of his way to not pick someone with a family. You know what I mean?
And like I agree with that. And I also feel like it was very like judgmental on his part. And like fuck you in particular for being that much of an asshole to your family. So you are therefore expendable.
Exactly. And so it's like when he does stuff like that, there's this like this dissonance inside of me where it's like I'm not rooting for him, but at the same time, I'm kind of rooting for like not for him to win the entire show, but like, you
But
know,
in that moment, I agree with that victory.
yeah, I'm like, "Okay, I'll let you run this experiment, Hank. I'll allow it. Like you can do this and that's fine." Um, and so I just thought that that was, and he's like, this guy like completely dies, his head explodes, and Hank's like, "Huh, gotta try again, I guess," like,
Right. And like can we just applaud his tenacity?
oh yeah,
Like the perseverance in the like I will explode as many motherfuckers as it takes to do what I'm gonna do.
yep,
And you have to like even if you don't agree with him, you have to appreciate that kind of like those kind of stones and that kind of like absolute follow through and like willingness to just keep going and going and going and going.
yeah, 100%. Um, so then we're back to Lucy. She's so funny. When she's like, I realize we all have our cultural differences, but just so you know, I'm nice. And I'm like, oh, Lucy, if only we could save, like be saved just because we're nice, you know? But
Right.
yeah, at that moment, she realized she fucked up, that it doesn't matter how nice you are, you know, people are gonna fuck you, like it, you've got to be a little bit more discerning in who, not so much you're gonna rescue, but who you're gonna trust. Like if Lucy had just rescued the tunic and been like, okay, now you can
Go
go.
on your merry way.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. I could understand that, but I think she was trying to be so petty with Cooper just to prove to herself that I am not Cooper How. Well, she doesn't know who he is, but I'm not the ghoul. I'm gonna go above and beyond to make sure everyone knows that I'm not like him. Like I think that that was more her being prideful than even following her own morality. Because she could
Yep.
have saved the girl and just let her walk away. Like, why did she need to take her back? You know what I mean?
It was very much a situation.
Yeah. So anyway, so then we go back to our vaulties and I love this. They basically get out of the vault and Norm has his moment. Like he has never been out of a vault before and he's just like, it's
It's
beautiful.
beautiful. I love it. That was
And
such a great moment.
it was such a great moment. And then so we get more fighting. Okay, this is a scene that I don't like really understand. Like Um, because this big knight guy is all like, "Oh, are you the one that killed that NCR bitch, Moldover?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did that." And the guy's like, "Well, I bet I could mash you." And I'm like, "What is this just dude talk? Like, do people just I'm just gonna get into a fight just to get into a fight? Like what?" I was messaging Chelsea. I was like, "What was the point of this particular scene?" And so Chelsea, I'm gonna let you respond to that because I think you did a good job just when you were telling me about it. Like, why did we have this fight between Max and this like big ass dude? Like, why?
I like I think part of it is testosterone fueled idiocy, but also the reason Max actually engages and goes along with this, I think, is to prove his loyalty to Quintus.
Mhm.
And maybe to even like as a distraction because something is coming, which
Yeah,
he may or may not know about. But I think he's trying very much to just prove his loyalty and his worth and his value to Quintus. And that's why it's important he comes out on top of this altercation. And like you see him look at Quintus like,
yeah.
do I go for it? Okay.
And I think it's almost like a reflection of what Lucy like um I feel like, especially after that conversation with Dane, Max has to double down on his beliefs that the Brotherhood is the right choice.
Yep.
And it's sort of like, so he will fight. It's almost like a stupid war. Like he will fight the stupid fight because the Brotherhood is asking him to do it and because he genuinely thinks that this is the right thing to do. And
Yep.
instead of actually sitting and thinking why do I need to do this? So they fight, and I just feel like Max sometimes like lucks himself into these things. Like he has the skill, but he's also so clumsy sometimes that
Right.
even he's surprised like he's won. Like, oh shit, that was an
Oh
accident.
shit. I did that.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm like, part of me wonders if that is a mask or a play or a ploy to keep everyone complacent and thinking that he is less capable than he is. Like, is it a survival skill?
Yeah.
Or is it just what it appears to be on the surface?
That makes sense. So after the fight where Max does take the guy down and he kills him, we get an interruption and we get Xander Harkness, and he's basically like, "Oh, well, I'm a liaison from the Commonwealth and we're discussing a civil war. Like, I guess I didn't get my invitation." And Quintus is like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?" But he's basically like, "And yet here you
Yeah,
are."
here you are. And like, I want to know who the fuck tipped him off. Was it Max? Was it Dane? Was it somebody else? Like, I want to know who
Yep.
tipped the Commonwealth off.
Yes. Um, Give me your theories because obviously we don't know as of right now, even with episode 3. Like, what are your theories?
with the look that Max and Harkness exchanged after Harkness showed up in that little nod, I almost think that it was Max who tipped Harkness off, but I could be wrong. But like that, just that silent visual exchange that they had made me think that Max might have been the one that tipped Harkness off about the breach in the chain of command.
I think that if that's true, he does that because of what Dane says.
Absolutely.
Because Max does not realize Quintus is breaking chain of command until Dane mentions it.
Right. I
And
think
it,
it would be juicier if Dane was the one that tipped him off.
I agree. I am leaning towards Dane only because I think Max is still I'm doing what I'm told mentality, but I
And
think yeah,
Dane is very much, I'm going to question what we're told
yeah,
mentality.
yes. And I think that Max has I think it's Dane, but I think that but I think that and we'll see this in episode 3 like Max genuinely likes Harkness. Like he I think it's just that lesson that he had. It's like Dane is giving him that push that he kind of needs, but in a way where he's not necessarily telling Max what to do. It's more of like Dane is going to do what they think is the right thing. And like they think that regardless of what happens, the Commonwealth should be at that meeting. No matter, like, it's just the right thing. It's chain of command. If Max wants to go and follow the Brotherhood, then we can't just decide that the Codex is up for interpretation. You have to follow the rules. And so it's sort of like figuring out, well, what rules do you follow? What rules don't you follow? Because technically, Dane is also going against chain of command by going over Quintus's head and telling, Harkness, or at least Commonwealth, hey, this is what's going on. So I really like it because it's hard because not you cannot have everything be black and white in the wastes. You just
Right.
can't. And whether it's the
All shades
rules,
of gray.
yeah, whether it's the rules or morality, and those are the two like journeys that you have Max on for the rules. Are they black and white? And then Lucy and her morality, is it black and white? And we're going to find that out. So the episode ends that way. So obviously, we kind of touched on this, Chelsea, but like I think we're both in the same boat as after episode 2, we were both like much better than episode 1, but we were really pissed off with Lucy and her
Yes.
decisions. Um,
I'm just like, girl, when are you going to learn your lessons?
right.
This man has done nothing but save your ass ever since the super duper mart. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
come on now.
Um, and I just think, well, let me ask you this from a writer perspective. Based on everything that's happened in season 1, I think we could both agree that Lucy does learn a lesson when she puts her mom down, and she learned that specifically from the ghoul. Does Lucy need to now that we're in kind of, if this were a book, it'd be book 2, we're in season 2.
Right.
Lucy also like needs to learn more lessons. Like she's not finished from learning her lessons.
No.
Um, so clearly she needs to learn that she can't just trust or save. Some people aren't necessarily worth saving. Um,
Right. And like appearances can be deceiving. This is the biggest lesson in the wasteland is
oh
like not everything is how it appears on the surface, and you've got to look deeper. You have to be smart enough to look under the surface.
yeah. Um, so I'm trying to figure out, like, with the way that they've set it up, obviously, at least what I'm hoping that by the end of season 2, Lucy trusts Cooper now. Lucy's put in a position and she will pick Cooper over whoever. Um, but I'm trying to figure out, like, from a writing perspective, I mean, personally, I like the fact that she's kidnapped by the Legion because now Cooper is forced to rescue her, and that does all the things to my shipper heart. I love that. But the way that it was set up, do you think that it could have been better? Do you think that if you're writing this as a book, book two, act one, like, do you do something similar, or do you think that that almost retcons some of her characterization from season one? Like, what are your thoughts on how this was set up?
I think it could have been done in a way that did not appear to retcon some of her character development from season one. I think that we could have found a way to tweak it, but also with the way that it's going right now, I think it's just so much that her emotions are more in control of her than her logic is right now.
Yeah. Um, because I'm in a tricky spot because it's sort of like they've started about 2 weeks from the end of season one. There's a lot of development that we did not get to see happen between Lucy and the ghoul. So, and I'm sure they did it on purpose so they didn't have to necessarily explain certain things or why certain things are happening, or even Lucy's motivations to a degree. Because my thing is more like, but I don't think she learns the lesson the same way if it's done differently either. I think that she has to be gung ho, she has to be emotional, she has to make all of these choices in order to really get that foot in her mouth. Because if, let's say, she just lets the girl go and somehow the Legion kidnaps her, she's not really learning a lesson. She's now just kidnapped, and Cooper has to go sort of after her. But
Right.
based on all of the choices that she made, this is not Cooper's. I mean, to a degree, could you argue that maybe he is somewhat responsible if he kind of could predict what was going to happen and he sort of let it happen? Possibly. But Lucy's an adult. Like, she made
Right.
all of her choices. He let her make the choice, even when he told her what to do. We are not going to give resources to the tunics. Let's, like, basically kill them. They're not worth it. They're evil people, essentially. Give me the stim pack. He basically told her, you need to do these things. And every single time he told her to do something, she went and did the opposite. And so it's sort of like, I think that you're absolutely right. I think that her emotions are just getting the better of her right now. And I think that, oh, I'm gonna love talking about episode three, but it's just, I don't think she learns that lesson if it's done any,
Any other way.
yeah. And despite how frustrated I am with her decisions, and despite my kind of questioning, is it a plot device or actual character development? I think that it has to happen this way, or else it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it has to go exactly the way it went because like he's not going to get to have the petty bitch, okay, learn it the hard way moment
right.
otherwise, and she's not going to get to have a bought lesson.
Right. And I also think that in his own way, Lucy was teaching Cooper a lesson. Like, you have to be nicer. And not just for me, but like for your own family. If you are after your own family and you're this much of a dick, like, you have to change that or else they're not going to want to be around you, kind of thing.
Right. Like
And
I don't see Barb putting up with that at all. And like I see Janie being really disappointed, but like I Barb would straight up like shit whip him
oh yeah.
acting like that. Like there's no question in my mind
And while I don't think Cooper gives a shit about Barb, I think that he does care about Janie.
what Janie thinks.
Yeah. And even, does he deserve to have her love for all of the things that he's had to do in order to survive, in order to see her again, kind of thing.
Right.
Um, And so I think that it's going to be really interesting. I'm just again, not really a spoiler, but an episode. I'm just glad that they're back together because
Right.
if it took like three episodes for them to like rescue, I was just gonna
I was
shit
gonna be so upset.
mad. Um, but yeah, so I think that yeah, I think it has to happen this way. Now, obviously, we're gonna get into episode three next time, but do you think Cooper learns a lesson from Lucy's choices? Or do you think it's more of this is cute what she's doing, but I'm gonna go over it and basically say that I'm right kind of thing? Like, do you think
I
that
think he's very much the latter right now. Like it's like, let me go prove to the Vaulty how wrong she was again.
even he used her golden rule, and like the fact that like I mean, it's the title of the episode, and it can be applied even to Max's situation. Like you have this whole group of brotherhood, and they're leaving somebody out, and so it's sort of like you're not treating others the way that you want to be treated.
Would be treated.
Lucy is not treating Cooper the way that she wants to be treated, and
Mm-mm.
Cooper might be a dick, but in this episode, I don't see him treating Lucy badly. And so
Mm-mm.
when Cooper said golden rule motherfucker, I started laughing because it was the same I mean, my the romantic shipper in me is like, "Oh, he remembered. He remembered that she saved him essentially the same way." But he's laughing
Right.
because he already knows. He already knows what's gonna happen. Um,
Yep. And like it's his pragmatism
yeah.
versus her optimism
Yes.
so much right now.
I just think I love that. I love that because they're gonna find a balance. They have to. And it's even just listening to the actors discuss it, like who's going to win out, who's going to affect who the most. And that's the interesting part in this situation. So, I think, do you have any other things that you want to discuss with the episode that we haven't talked about yet?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm super happy with like where we're at the end of episode 2.
yes, I agree. And so we will be back to discuss episode three, and let me tell you, that one.
It's
Um,
in my top 3 all-time fave episodes of this show so far.
so far, yeah, I know. It was so good. Gosh, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. Um, Chelsea, do you have any questions for them for the comments?
Mm. Who do you think tipped off Harkness?
Ooh,
I
good.
want to know who you guys think tipped Harkness off in the comments.
Great. And then, yeah, and then we will be back for episode three. All right, guys, take care. See you.
Bye.